Unfortunately, I don't. I know for a fact that there's the link for it if anyone wants to follow along. I know for a fact that Agile is not able to join us tonight. Agile is way ahead of us on the time zone, so presumably they are either in bed or if Agile drunk is an accurate handle, they're passed out. One of the two. But we're gonna do a really great review and put it in a VOD so that they can watch it later. So Agile Drunks Strix 3 Cube. This seems like a pretty well established cube with no particular like restrictions, peasant or anything like that. But the cool thing about this cube that caught my eye was it has a set of achievements, which I know plenty of other content creators have talked about. As a set of achievements that we're going to get into in just a minute that kind of round this out. So the questions that Agile had, Agile said that this was originally built from cards they owned and has been played and tinkered with nonstop for a year. And they've been obsessed with tuning it. So they've done lots of hours researching. They've done more than 40 drafts. So I would consider this pretty well established. I don't think, other than maybe a couple little suggestions, we're gonna I don't think we're gonna like have lots of big sweeping change suggestions, but we'll get into it in a minute. So they said they were looking for overall reviews, impressions. If we had suggestions for cuts, additions, or replacements, they would be interested. Obviously, if they're fine tuning this and if they're really into the nitty gritty, I'm sure even a small idea like, hey, upgrade this, one little card would be appealing to them. And then again, they are down for test drafts. So anyone who wants to jump in and draft this, by all means, please go ahead and do it. Cultic, yes, clever to put the Strix rating right in the title. It helps designers know what to expect right when they open the list. I agree. I do like that. I don't know like how the community overall feels about the Strix scale, but I think it's probably the best thing we have, or maybe the only thing we have. So of course that's helpful. So let's we've seen the themes here. I'm not going to read those because you all are literate. And it appears that they've got some lists of things that they. All right, that link didn't work, but we'll ask about that later. Some stuff that they throw in, which is cool. Here's the big thing. And this is where chat hopefully will be able to help us out with what's the Strix scale? That's quite a question. So there's a Reddit post. Again, I can dig that up in a minute, but the Reddit post basically established a scale kind of... oh, John's going to find the link. Thank you, John. A scale, a power rating scale for cube based around Baleful Strix. Ambrose is ahead. There is the Strix scale. I think it's also pinned in the subreddit, in the MTG Cube subreddit. It was developed by Parker / Land of Mordor as a power rating scale. All right, so on this cube, we have a wide array of possible achievements. These are really cool. So the clever names aside, which I actually think the names that they picked here were actually pretty cool for the most part, right? Win with a monocolored deck gets you an achievement or a point. Similarly, winning with a colorless deck, a deck with no basic lands, which I'm sure is quite the challenge to even draft. A 50 or 60 card deck, a deck where no creatures share a creature type. Probably easier in a control deck. What's cool about this is this gives you an opportunity to think creatively about how you build your deck. Again, something like Cobbled, right? In your green-red deck, you're going to have a really hard time not having 2 elves or potentially 2 goblins without looking at the list. But your 6 creature, 4 creature control deck might be impossible to have the same creature type more than once. So thinking about different ways that you can play a deck that makes sense, but also maybe chase an achievement, I think is really neat. And I also know some of these things just are going to just happen, right? the scale up, have 5, 10, 15, or 20 +1/+1 counters on permanents you control. That's just going to happen if you're playing the scales deck, right? If there's a storm package or anything even remotely like it, this one here, that there's one where that came from, casting 4 or more spells in a single turn, or if you have a really good cantripy deck, that's just going to happen. So some of these are just going to happen on their own, and I think that's pretty neat as well. And then there's a handful of card specific ones here. So winning with or against, actually interesting, with or against the Sandworm Convergence.
I wonder if that's like a meme for their playgroup.
Yeah, it must be.
Losing to the Sandworm Convergence.
Yep. That's a hell of a card to resolve.
Right.
If you don't have some kind of way to like cheat it down, and I'm not super familiar with ways to cheat down giant enchantments. But it is a super powerful card. I've played it in a kind of meme deck, kitchen table. It's pretty cool. I like Virgin Mystic versus Chad Talrand. That one. That might be the first one I would go after. That might be the first one I would go after. I love that there's a Champion of Ronus, what's the word? A number that you're chasing here, right? Try to hit a 5 or 6 drop with it. Try to hit an 8 drop with it. So some cool stuff. And then I particularly like the fact that if you die to your own Bob, you get an achievement. I don't know if that's one you chase or one that just happens and you're like, well, at least I
check that one off.
At least I could check that off the bingo card, right? So please, anyone who has an idea as we're going through the cube for for one or more achievements, throw them out there. Yes, Dakaru, I 1,000,000% agree that they put a lot of effort into their cube overview, and I love it. Obviously, you and for a large extent I are biased by how cool this custom what's the word? The syntax here, the ability to put all this stuff in. But yes, this is a beautiful overview. And Markdown, thank you, Deck. Shout out that if anyone is thinking about putting their cube anywhere, even on the Reddit, take an hour. Take an hour and go through your overview. The minute this went live and I saw how deep this Markdown was, I went through and tried to touch all mine up. But a nice overview is so pleasant to read through, and it doesn't have to be complex. It just has to be elegant.
Yeah, Pab, you just mentioned in the chat, feels similar to Live the Dream. Yeah. McDarby and I actually were working on a achievement list similar to this for that cube. We just kind of ran out of time before it went live. Still something on the back burner that you may see in future runs iterations if it comes back. Yeah.
Are you saying that building a 540 cube was challenging enough that adding a shit ton of achievements and dreams to live was a bit much to ask all at once?
Yeah.
With
we
literally two people. With literally 2 people to do it.
Yeah.
Well, now you know some more people that can help you out. All right, let's get into this list. All right. Here it is. So, you and I spent a little time looking at this one. I'll be honest, I'm pretty excited about this cube. I think this definitely would go on the list of ones I'd love to try sometime. And that's like personal preference. That's not because this is a better cube than any other, but like shit like Skilled Animator and Animating Fairy, that's the kind of nonsense that I love to try to get together. Now we've also got a lot of powerful cards. We've got our Bob, we've got a Snapcaster, we've got a Flicker Wisp, and then we've got a Sarah Angel. So quite a mix actually of, I'd actually be interested. This is something we didn't do. I would be interested to go over here, and did that click? There we go. And check out the Elo Spread. Yeah. So pretty decently grouped, but also a pretty wide. And Elo isn't everything, but this is a very valuable tool in kind of seeing if you have power outliers. And the answer is yeah, we have a bunch of high Elo cards kind of smattered up here. You know, a couple blue and a colorless and a multi in the 1650 to 1699 range as an example. And I don't have a cube in mind that I could pull up, but having a tighter packed Elo chart here can mean a little bit less of a wide power band. And it's all about what you want to play. It's not inherently good or bad, but I do think that's a valuable thing to look at. So we have a pretty wide power band. We've got a fetch and a shock in some colors. It looks like most of the shocks are in. I don't see any missing skimming down. But then we've got a mix of fetches, temples, check lands, and as appropriate, a couple creature lands. A creature land.
Mm-hmm.
A creature land.
Yeah,
and then
what the much tighter, smaller gold section as well.
Yep. What the fuck are these called? The you got to control 2 or fewer other lands. It's not fast lands. It's a different name. Oh no, it is fast lands. It's fast lands because this is the concealed courtyard. Is the one I first saw. Yeah, there's a couple fast lands. Vantages in there. Yep, I was thinking of a different one. Those are fast lands. So yeah, it's a nice tight 30 lands. And even counting the hybrid, only 25 multicolor cards, and that's including the hybrids, which I like. I do like a bigger gold section, but looking through these, like these are the cards you want. You know what I mean? Like K Command, that's a strong card. Atarka, on the assumption that you can cheat it out. Which for some reason isn't coming up. IDAC, I probably was thinking of the battle lands. That is probably what I was thinking of. They have a custom image URL on that. That's why that won't come up. So the link is broken is the real issue. Oh yeah, right there.
Down there.
Yep. Thanks. Well, that's fine. Anyway, so yeah, D-White, what do you think of like kind of an overall impression on this cube? It seems like it's pretty wild.
Mm-hmm. I think you can just tell by the front page, the achievements, they've probably put a lot of time into it. So without even looking into it too deep, going in blind, I would just assume this is going to be a nice tight cube and fun to draft, fun to play.
Agreed. So, and we also have, which is cool, we have a variety of single color archetypes, and then we have some multicolor archetypes as well. And they're not wildly specific, meaning it's not none of these are like super narrow. Sort of a general graveyard, a value in mid-range, a spells matter tempo deck, go wide aggro. You've got options that are not going to, pin you into a super narrow on rails draft.
Looks like we already have our first suggestion.
Achievement idea, amazing. Hang on, I just wanted to note real quick that in red it's mid-range light, which I'm actually kind of curious what they mean by that, but I have a couple guesses. All right, achievement idea, pray to God, Prey. Counter or get your Tetzmoc countered with 2, 3, 4, 5 pray counter on creatures. I love that. That's awesome. I hadn't even noticed, but yeah, Tetz is in here.
Yeah, that's a card maybe it's a little commanderish, but
yep.
I haven't really seen it in a lot of cubes, so
yeah.
My
sense is that this is, I don't want to say a kitchen sink cube, but there's like a good smattering of like anything you want to do, mm-hmm. Like if you're going to put Sarah Angel in next to Dark Confident, like you've got a lot of options. And because the monocolor sections are so deep, because they were disciplined with their multicolor and with their lands, you really have the option to try to push your way into a monocolor, or you can try to, snap up those lands early, and get into something a little bit more sinister. Let's take a hot second to look through too. We did talk about this last night, and this is what you get for prepping, is forgetting to mention it on stream, but really good smattering of aggro. Like most of the traditional red support for aggro is in here, at 1 and at 2, including a spellsy option. You can go more spells, or you can go more kind of traditional, just 1, 2, 3 dead. And similarly, a pretty decent mix of the white aggro is in here. And even I don't know if Diagraph Ghoul is an attempt to signal that you can actually try to get into. I think this is an indication that they're trying to support some amount of black aggro, maybe as a backup color.
Yeah, I think they recognize that in their lands too, because I think the red X lands were the fast lands. So
right. Yeah, Black Cleave, and yeah, you're right. Yep, and Inspiring Vantage. So the Mardu lands that involve red. Yeah, because it's a temple in white black, but the red X Mardu lands are fast lands. Well said. So that's interesting. I know a lot of different people have a lot of different thoughts on the idea of we have Una's Prowler, we have the Scrappy Scrounger, so we definitely have black aggro. Sidestep asked, is this the default cube view? Oh, it's the hybrid section. Yeah, it's the hybrid section. It's confusing. Yeah, this is the default cube view. I mean, I didn't mess with it. But it's because they've categorized a few things as hybrid, color category hybrid. Very, very flexible table access here. A lot of different ways you can do stuff. Pab would suggest Two-Face have both sides of 2, 3, 4, or 5 dual-sided cards on the battlefield, but there aren't enough flip cards for now. Maybe 2021 will change that. I think, am I remembering right that you can now search? You can. So there's 7 in here. Good ones. In fairness, they're good ones. The Florahedron looks amazing. I know if Derek's still here, I know he was a big proponent of the double face cards, so I'm curious if he has any thoughts on these specific ones, or maybe I'm misremembering and it was more that we were talking about the double face lands, which are obviously insane.
Yeah, right. Like, I don't know how you could go wrong with any of those. They're just,
no.
At worst, they're always a land. So
yep. Yeah, Pab, the flip walkers and any other transforms would count, but there aren't any in here. Is DFC should catch that, if I remember correctly. I think is DFC will catch literally anything that has two faces to it. Hi, Derek. But yeah, I agree with what you said earlier, D White, that we definitely see like some maybe commandery shenanigans or some live the dream QB shenanigans. Mm-hmm. Like the Night Veil Spectre is obviously like spicy, and
you just take a look at his red enchantments.
You got it. One big one, Roiling Vortex. Oops, let me pull that up. Did I just see? Yeah, I did. Okay, so interestingly, not listed in the multicolor section, Cut to Ribbons, which I think is fine to list it there. Also, again, a spicy addition. It looks like we have a handful of Aftermath cards. The MDFCs are great. You like the removal spells a lot in cubes of this power level. Okay, good to know. Thank you, Derek. Oh, and then we do have 1 5 color So like we know that for sure, especially if you're only going to include 2 lands of each dual color, that like this is something you have to chase, pretty hard. Pab's idea for an achievement: postscript. Cast the aftermath side of all 4 aftermath cards. They're all in 4 different colors, right? They are. So you gotta do that in your 5 color bullshit deck. If you can do it across a match, you could also cast both sides of your split cards. That would be an option to get in there. This is pretty cool. You want to get into a drafty wipe?
Let's do it.
Yeah, I don't think there's any other specific like.
Do we want to pick a achievement to go for, or are we just gonna go?
Oh man,
see what's best.
That's a challenging question. I'm gonna pull the list up. Okay. Let's go in cold, and then if we see something, I mean, if Talrand or Murmuring Mystic's in there, I'm gonna override all good sense and just snap pick it.
I think that card will always be Chad Talrand from now on.
Chad Talrand. Derek, add it to the list. Derek is the keeper of the names. Oh god, so good. All right, Endless One, good open pick. Cutthroat, if we want to get into the sack. We have a fair number of signpost cards here. That's what I'm gonna say. Mm-hmm. We have a bunch of signpost cards. We have some artifact support, and you know what I'll say I like about that too is Overseer and Chief. Well, actually, here's the problem. In a real draft, you're going to try to wheel one of those, and someone else is going to take that as a sign and take it.
Yeah.
But we've got a mono red. We've got.
Judith is very angry.
Judith is pretty cool. And Judith and Cutthroat. Like, again, you might be able to take Cutthroat and wheel Judith, and then you're on the right track.
Mm-hmm.
I could get in for that. Judith is really good, probably enough to push you to take a multicolor in P1. I agree, sidestep. This is P1able.
Yeah, I would almost feel all right with picking Judith first.
Just take it because it's...
I always like gold cards, so...
No, I mean, I'll try it. Oh, I love Combustible Gear Hulk so much. It's not as good as I think it is, but God, I love resolving that. We've got a Mox. Sort of. Got that Roiling Vortex. That seems like a hate card.
Mm-hmm.
Hate bear. Derek was on Op, Beanstalk, or Judith. I think those are solid. Picks. Yep. And we went with Judith because we do the spicy thing here. I don't know how I feel about this pack though.
Yeah.
I mean,
not a great follow up to our first pick.
I mean, I guess a shock that might do 4 damage is fine. There are a fair number of artifacts in here. Sidestep would also consider pivoting into Tristani.
Also another very strong card.
That's not a bad. Pab is on fire with these suggestions. Grinds my gears. Remove all 3 Gear Hulks in a game. I
think I take the shock.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. I'm not against pivoting into Tristani. I just think that it's not so bad that you can't just take that. Curious if anyone in chat or who's guesting on this stream right now has played Opportunistic Dragon and felt good about it. I felt like when I saw this, I was excited, and then when I like looked at it deeper, I was like, oh no, I don't care for that at all. But I'm curious if anyone has any feelings on that. Also, just want to say that if we had gone with the Steel Overseer, we could take Skilled Animator and we'd be off to the races. Just saying.
Yeah.
We could be living that dream right now. But it's okay.
Another empty pack for us.
Yeah.
What
might be wise to either pivot or try to branch out. I mean, Judith is also not like You can shock your Judith and have her deal 1 damage to any target. That is living the dream right there. With our Galv Blast. I think for me, I know fixing is going to be tight. I almost would just grab the dragon in a lower power environment is really efficient body with a very unlikely removal spells. Okay. Yeah, I guess also knowing there's a lot of humans, I think it's probably fine just take the dragon.
Do
Slam
we
the
try
lark.
to pivot into the artifact deck?
I mean, Sidestep wants to slam the lark.
Lark is very powerful as well. Got the Aladdin there with the lamp.
Right. Yeah, I think here we either grab the animator or we just, I think we just pivot or at least open ourselves. I mean, it's only pick 3. Open ourselves up to something else. We don't have to get locked in on Judith. I'll take the animator just because.
Yeah,
that's my go-to is blue and soul.
Red cards.
Yeah. Yeah, a braid's quite fine. Also, risk factor and skewer quite fine.
But there's also Chad in the pack.
There is Chad. I would assume risk factor is probably fine in this cube. I would also assume skewer probably slaps with Judith just because there's a decent likelihood that you can spectacle it. Actually, wait, I'm sorry. Does Judith hit? Yeah, it's any target.
What do you think of skewer versus a braid?
I mean, we know it's artifact heavy, which would make me lean towards a braid. And knowing that both are fairly replaceable, I'd rather have the more flexible card.
Yep.
So that's where I'd be at on that. Okay, now we have some options. A dredge, that's interesting. A dredge Dark Blast. And cut is not the worst thing ever either.
No, I like cut if we're in
that red black drain burn.
Cut, gets rid of a creature early and then can kill somebody, finish them in the end game. Yep.
Abilene had a achievement suggestion: sacrifice Fabled Passage and either Evolving Wilds or Terramorphic Expanse on the same turn. I like that. That could be very interesting. Nice. Okay, now we're seeing some stuff. We're just gonna end up on Black Red Burn.
All right. Well, maybe one of the most underrated aggro cards.
Yep.
The God Pharaoh. The artifact.
The throne.
That card. Yes.
Oh yeah. Yep. Yeah, that can come out. That can get you.
Yeah, I really like that card. I wish I could see that more in cubes.
I could see that. I will say Kezel's Fury, especially being a MDFC land, is pretty hard to pass. Ambrose said they also had good results with it in GX Elf Ramp. That's awesome. That's a good observation as well. Yep. Any Dork Ramp will let you play Throne and just slap him for 5 for no reason. I like this idea of having a fling with a land on the back in a Judith deck. I don't think there's much better than that, frankly. And the only problem is Judith says non-token, so we can't just slap Dragon Fodder down. With the sack deck, Karen Wanderer might be fine, and we might just be okay with Moment.
I like Moment. It's a nice, efficient removal spell.
Sure. Here's another achievement suggestion. I love that everyone's got these. An additional 6 feet underground. Respond to an opponent's on-stack exhume by discarding or milling a 5, 6, or 7 CMC or greater creature. If that's doable, like if we have instant speed mill and or discard, that's actually pretty fucking cool. Like when they drop Exhume and you're like cycle your you need to be able to cycle your greater sandworm. That's how you do that. And that would unlock that achievement all the fucking way. I like that one. What do you want in here, D-White? What are we picking?
Delver's really good. But I think just keep taking removal spells.
Just be like a control deck with some sacrifice themes.
Yeah, unfortunately we're not seeing too much aggressive stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sam mentioned that Grizzly Salvage will do it. That's a fair point. Instant speed self-mill right there.
Well, you got the...
For the achievement. For the achievement. I think they were referencing the achievement. And there's the Cutthroat came around.
Yep.
So that's on plan. Maybe the Vortex is fine. It's just going to keep burning for one.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to cast anything for no mana. And you can turn off life gain if you need it. There's also nothing better, so.
Yep.
Grapple with the Past would also do it. That's a fair point. Treasure Keeper works with the sack theme. I totally passed that. Vengeful Rebel might actually be revoltable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. There's a threaten to go with our sack, our flame.
Yeah. Plus you can cast a 2-drop. All right. I think this worked out well. I think we're in the right. Oh, goddamn. And a Bob. Right off the bat. Right off the bat. Yeah, we haven't seen a lot of lands in here either. So do you want Bob or do you want the Terramorphic? I don't think that's a real question, but just because the lands are... Spikefield would also be nice if it came around. But you don't pass Bob, right?
No. I think we're a good deck for Bob.
Yeah.
Already pretty cheap.
They're all good for Bob. Interesting. Oh, this is cool. I'm not familiar with this card, but this is neat. The Graveblade Marauder.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever it hits, that the player it hits is going to lose life equal number of creature cards in your graveyard. That's a little like later payoff for sacrificing stuff, right? And then presumably Bone Dragon's also fine, because you might be able to recur it with all the stuff that you're dropping in the yard, right?
Yep.
Derek, Bob, this isn't a coward stream. Oh man, fuck you. But you're right. We literally haven't seen a single land. Like it's not even. I mean, maybe it's the bots picking them, but we haven't even opened one.
What do you think about Swift Spear here? 1-drop attacks. We do have some removal spells.
We do have a lot of spells. Sure. I'll grab that. Sewer Nemesis. Quite a card. I am also quite curious, and maybe Agile can let us know when they see this, but I'm curious how the artifact deck holds up. Presumably it holds up. I tried putting one together in my cube and it did not come together. But I am definitely curious if they find that it does well. All right. Oh, here's some more. Yeah, you know what? I actually think. Sorry, I forget who put it in. That the instant speed discard achievement is actually quite doable. Because Thrill is another instant speed discard, so I think that achievement can just go right in. It's discarding something in response to an Exhume. I think that's totally possible. What do you want here, DY? Do we just take the Thermo Alchemist and have a backup spells burn plan?
Spells, yeah. I think that's...
And that's just another thing you can sack too, right? You can block with it, tap it to burn, and then sack it if you need to.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there's a Dragon Lord Atarka in this pack.
Yep. Sure is. Oh shit, I didn't... Fuck. I was trying to bring the card up. My dumbass just picked it, which sucks because there was a good. I'm going to go ahead and submit a feature request to Caro. We need an undo draft button.
An undo button.
For my dumbass.
Done that a few times.
Oh, and there was good cards in that pack too. All right, well, at least this isn't for money.
Right.
Doomfall seems pretty flexible. Duress seems pretty on plan. And I actually think Foulmire is like a pretty sexy card.
Yeah, I like Foulmire Knight actually.
Yeah. I'm always pretty big on anything that's got 2 modes.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And like in black-red, we'll want the draw. Derek's always going to suggest more lands. That's fair. Derek runs 100 lands in his 384 cube. Over 100 lands in his 384 cube. Interesting.
Siege Gang stands out.
Yeah.
Early.
Yeah.
Really good with Judith.
Well, except Judith is non-token.
Oh, that's right.
Which I would normally forget, except someone mentioned it today in a tweet or a Reddit or something. Now I think
it's only when
but this is still
bonus. Makes
yeah. You can still fling
on
goblins for 2, right? You can still just Gatling gun your goblin tokens, like
yeah, and they still get the bonus, the power bonus too.
Right, there's still 2 ones. Right. Oh look, animating fairy. See, we could have done it.
Mm-hmm.
And Foundry Inspector. That deck is open. That deck is wide open. Do we just want fire? It's like literally the only red or black card.
Yeah.
Is there? These artifacts are all. Oh, this dies. Maybe. This dies. No, this dies into creature.
Yeah.
That's the go-to.
Hello there, Hellrider.
Yeah, right. So I was just thinking. This is probably too slow for what we're doing, but it is interesting that you could return a bunch of creatures to your hand recursively. Mm-hmm. I feel like this deck is going to be fast enough that we don't want to mess around at that.
I mean, you could probably take it if you want to do the die to Bob achievement.
Right.
That could always be an option.
When in doubt, lose a game for an achievement. Yep. Probably not a lot of point discard coming at us for guerrilla tactics.
No, like the Kendra.
Like the Kenra? Yeah, it's just a 2-drop that you can.
Good attacker.
Pab just observed as well. We forgot to mention this. It's this is a 361 cube, which I love. So there's going to be one.
One card.
Oh, Sam also pointed out that you can refresh the page to restart the draft, which is a fair point. We could also redraft it and go back, but it's not worth it here. I'm just mad at myself for fucking it up. So I think Graveblade or Bone Dragon are fine here. What do you think?
I still think we have the possibility to be an attacking deck. I like Rimrock Knight. Just another cheap card.
Yeah, we're pretty aggressive here. Just swing and when stuff dies, you get bonuses, kind of a deal.
Yeah.
There was an achievement. Perfect Curve. Fulfill the companion requirements for Lurrus. Interesting. And it's Perfect Curve.
Yeah, I didn't see any companions in this list, so.
Yep. I also the name could be the perfect part could be used. This has a blink theme, and my personal achievement for my cube is blinking Regal Caracal at least twice. And there was a card that was basically like, look at X cards with Gonti, which is obviously like you have to recur him or blink him or something, clone him, whatever. Mm-hmm. So like, make 12 or more cats. That would be my go-to. What do you think about the knight here? If you want to be aggressive, right?
Yeah, the casting cost is a little prohibitive, but
that's only because we don't have lands.
Yeah.
This isn't a coward stream.
This is the pack that we misclicked. But Command's still in the pack. So.
That was what I was looking at. I was like, okay, Command, and then I clicked it wrong. I was like, fuck. It's Dragon Lord Atarka. Dakaru is the card with the... Yeah, I mean, I think nothing's better than K Command, right?
Mm-mm.
Assassin's fine. Red card with haste.
Actually, can you hover back over the assassin again?
Sure.
What does it say?
It either comes in with a counter or it destroys a creature that's damaged.
So you could ping something.
You can ping something and then kill it. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think that's like a, who knows if we'll be able to run that down. All right, we see a land. That's not for us. But there are some good cards in here. Henny's just fucking strong. I also like the Crater Maker just because it'll sack itself.
Yeah, Crater Maker is very good.
That fits our deck.
Ooh. Do we have a sack outlet for the skeleton yet?
I mean, despite being in an aggressive sack deck, no, I don't think that we super do. The Fling variant would be the only one.
Gotcha.
That would be kind of hilarious. Just fling it over and over again for 5 mana. Per turn.
There's not much else in this pack.
Pivot
we could just go
Nexus.
all in on it. Is it too late for Maelstrom Nexus?
No, the only other... Is it too late for Maelstrom Nexus? That is the question.
I'll always ask myself
Pab
that
says attacking into their 3/3 is the sack outlet. That's so true. No, the one thing I'll say is I actually like maybe the idea of DTS here. We might be able to get some value off that. And I don't think we'll tap it for green, but we can cast it for black. So I think that's worth looking at. Now, Vampire Lacerator is also aggressive. That's a fair point. Which
I think I like Lacerator in this deck a little more than DTS. But
deck is mad that you said there's nothing here because DTS is here. Just saying. I'm Mimi. I would probably take DTS, or I guess also there's actually Diagraph Ghoul and the Lacerator both.
Yeah,
are both.
Well, you probably get one if you take the DTS. You probably get one of those other ones back, so I could see.
There you go, DTS. DRS for shorthand. Either way, Deathrite Shaman, that makes more sense. Good times.
Tarn Mauler gets big very quickly.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's also a lightning strike too. What's our creature count right now that we're actually playing?
We have a decent amount of creatures. We're pretty even on both. Derek sees a lightning strike. He takes it. Dakaru is busy having a stroke because of me. That's fair. Yeah, I don't know that I think the strike probably fits us a little better.
Yeah, I could agree.
But the Mauler's a fair observation there. Oh, a red-black land.
Yep, guys, take that.
Even gotta look
at the rest of the pack.
Don't even gotta look. There must have been 8 lands in that one. Ooh, Woe Strider. There's your sack outlet.
We didn't take the skeleton though, but maybe it'll come back.
Well, no, but I mean, we've got the Cutthroat, we've got Judith, we've got a Bob that might kill us, which we only want to do once.
Game 1, Bob kills us. We win games 2 and 3.
Yeah, exactly. Like we've got other stuff that we can sack.
Yeah,
and Woe Strider just
a good strike,
value,
good card in itself.
Just value. Yeah. Yep. BD likes the Battle of the Bridge we passed. I agree. That's a fair point as well. This is cool. Another sack outlet. Thirst is pretty good. That's a pretty underrated card, I think.
Yeah, I like Thirst. It only hits you for 1 when you reveal it to Bob, but you can still
cast it for
get
4.
the kicker value.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sure. Another MDFC. and you can sack something and have it recur. So a little bit of a roundabout bounce. Yeah, Derek, I know you like the thirst. Never return might not be bad. I feel like the rebirth would be worth trying to squeak in, though. Right? Because for one man, because first of all, it's an MDFC, so it's a land, and that's always strong. And then if not,
how do those work with Bob? I'm just curious. What is it?
It would see the front, if I understand correctly. It should see the Malakir Rebirth because that's the front face. So presumably it would smack us for 1. That or we pivot into Caracal, blink. Those are the 2 options I see. No, I think for 1 mana you might, and it's an instant, you can blink a creature. We've got a few ETB effects, but we've also got some dies effects. So like we've got a chance
I think we got plenty of removal, so
yeah.
I don't think we need the magma.
Gonti.
I mean, I'd be cool with Gonti.
I always pick Gonti.
Yeah.
Even if that's wrong, I'm taking it. There's no money on the line here. So Yahenni came around. We've got a 1 mana 2/1. We've got a... Yeah, I mean, Yahenni's probably it, right?
Yeah, Yahenni's another sack outlet, too. If we just want to finish somebody with...
Right.
Judith.
With Judith. The Lacerator came around. I think that was the 1-drop that Dakar was upset about.
No respect for Maelstrom Nexus.
See, Deck, you keep saying the 1-drop, but there were 2 1-drops in this pack. There was the Lacerator and there was the Diagraph. And technically there's Fairy Godmother. He's trying to figure out, he's Googling right now, Twitch unsubscribe.
Refund.
Refund. The Mauler came around, that's fine. Battle of the Bridge came around. Who said that? Who was upset about that? BD, I think. Which is probably fine.
I don't know if I've ever seen that card. Looks good though.
This wasn't popular enough. We clean up on the wheel. We do clean up on the wheel. That's how the stream goes. Oh, the Jackal Pup variant. Okay, yeah. I mean, we also passed an actual Jackal Pup, so just saying. Whatever, these are all off color. Actually, this might be a choice. What would you take here, D-White, the Skizix or the Manticore?
Probably the Skizix, just because it's...
Because it'll die.
More, and it sacks itself, so...
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, you just swing for 5 and then... Oh, Deck is saying he really likes aggressive 1-drops in the Aristocrats deck. That's actually fair. And I think that's kind of where D-White steered me, and I think that's the right move. I haven't played a ton of Aristocrats, and in my cube it's a little bit more mid-rangey. So I get it though. I think that's a good plan.
I feel like with Judith, you just want to be crashing your creatures and stuff.
Right.
Yeah, their face.
She's not a blood artist as much as it's an aggressive way to get some incidental extra damage, right? I'm happy with this. This would be a really fun deck to put together. The inability to get lands was a little bit challenging, and again, that's probably just a bot thing. And I didn't read it earlier, but Deck pointed out that a lot of people were upset how late the lands were coming around and felt that was unrealistic. So they manually cranked it up, and then now everyone says it's too early. So when I say the bot issue, I don't mean that in any kind of slight. But this is a cool deck. Like, this would be, fairly aggressive with a little bit of mid-range room. Something like Tori and Mauler probably lets you stretch into the mid game if you need to. So there's some cool stuff in here. And then Cold Life Oracle said, another achievement, 'tis but a scratch. Play in a game where Oathsworn Knight takes non-prevented damage. Interesting. Deck, you want us to build and do sample hands for the next hour and a half? We still have a cube to get to.
Yeah, we still
have a cube to get to. I don't think I don't think there's anything in here like that I would really strongly recommend changing. I think what I would say is as far as like cuts and everything, like I didn't see anything that I was like, why is this in here? I mean, again, like Sarah Angel is kind of like, what? And
Yeah, that's interesting. I wonder if that's just a product of, hey, this is what I had versus playing one of the other 5-drop angels that are available.
Right. Yeah, so I think what I'd recommend is an Agile. I don't know if you're already aware of this feature, but I pulled it up earlier in Cube Cobra. If you go over to the the analysis tab, and for some reason now nothing is moving, but I can still hear D White, so it's not the internet. Site's down. Cobra's down. Well, anyway, the analysis tab has a way to sort by Elo. So I think I would either per color or at least look at the whole thing and just see if there's any power outliers that seem like they don't make sense. Like if they're in there for a reason, that's fine. But if they're not in there for a reason, if it's just like, hey, I had a Sarah Angel, it fills a role, it's a 5-drop, see if there's something else. And then the other tool that you can use that Cobra has is a recommender. So you can pull up the recommender and see if it recommends changing anything up. So yeah, Dakaru said we just had a little Cube Cobra latency spike.
All the people we've sent to the website.
I know it's the multiple hundreds of viewers that are drafting the exact same cube all at once. It's exactly it. Ambrose got it. It's this stream causing too much traffic. I finally did it.
I guess there's always Cube Tutor.
There's always Cube Tutor. That's probably up. He said sarcastically. All right, here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna let Dakaru have a little bit of a stroke, and what we'll do is we'll take a 5. That'll give everyone a chance to do a quick bio break. I was gonna do that after the second cube anyway. Quick bio break, fill up the water, grab a snack, use the restroom, whatever you gotta do. We'll come back in. What do I have here? I'm a theater. Oh, look at that. It's 21:55, 9:55 my time, so we'll take 5 minutes, and we will overload Cube Cobra achievement unlocked.
Classic.
Thank you. Oh, we have the best chat. All right, we'll take 5. We'll be right back. Hang tight.